think sometimes we'll start on 8.
How much did we lose?
About 15 minutes. Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I'm not sure what time we started. But we got 15, and now we're on to... No, I think we started at 4, so we probably lost about 15.
Okay.
But I'll
it seems a bit unreliable.
Take notes. I know. It usually sometimes if a call comes in, it'll knock it off.
Okay.
So that could have been. I just saw it flash.
Some notification stopped.
Yeah. So something stopped it, but it's okay. I have a memory of what we spoke about. So we were talking about, and I'll fill in the notes on management style.
I think what we did with the long-range plan last year, so we developed a long-range plan last year, kind of setting out, my strategic vision for the next 3 years. I think that is something, that we initiated ourselves. It wasn't part of a broader Viacom program. So I was very pleased with the fact that we did it. We really mobilized the organization behind it. We came out with a really clear vision of where we wanted to go. I think it's exciting. It's succinct. We've got these 5 game changers that came out of that. And we're executing against it. So we're well on track, and I think that has provided a good vision for across the whole business.
What made you? How did you come up with that? I mean, what made you we need a strategic plan?
Well, it was a way of me kind of defining, if you like, my leadership. So it was, first of all, we had done one 2 years before, and 2 years now is actually quite a lot of time. So I felt like we needed the change and the transformation to happen quicker, and in fact the pace of change in the world in which we're operating had picked up as well. So it was partly kind of environment and partly me wanting to have a project to find my strategy and communicate it, because part of the building of that strategy is part of the process. It isn't just actually coming out with the end result. It's actually the process with all the people around the company who fed into that. That's a massive part of the benefit.
How many people do feed into it?
I don't have numbers for that, but I would say, well over 100 people, I'm sure, were involved in that process over. Yeah, I'm sure well over that. And it's a mammoth operation. It's because it's additional to people's day jobs, and we kicked it off in probably February last year, and we presented it at the beginning of June to Viacom. So a hell of a lot of work went into that, and we got a lot of good feedback from Bob and the rest of Viacom. But as I say, it's not just that. It was the process of doing it, and then thereafter, it's been our strategic North Star. So I'm very pleased with that.
Right. It's something it's a structure to follow to help you make decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we still use that as the framework that we came up with in that as how we talk about our strategic program.
Were there any sort of aha moments in that process, or surprises in that process, or things you learned that you didn't expect?
I think 2 things. One, the pace of change is happening way faster than we think, and every time we look at it, the change is more than we anticipated the year before. And number 2, that we're actually further down the road in terms of driving our emerging and new businesses than we probably gave us credit for, and we're actually going faster on that progress. So I actually think we're doing
That's
bloody
interesting.
good job, in terms of driving that transformation.
How do you manage to stay on top of, I'm curious, what's happening in the marketplace with this pace of change? Like, you do your job, but then you have to be aware of everything that's happening in the world around you,
Yeah.
right? Both politically, in terms of media, in terms of the industry. I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage that? How do you stay on top of that?
Well, I think meeting people is probably the best.
Uh-huh.
And meeting, and that's one of the massive advantages I have, that I travel around the world and I meet people, from different geographies, and even, to a certain extent from different industries. As I say, I just spent a whole day with people working for a mobile operator. You could say they're in the same business, but they're not. They're a slightly different business to us, and they have slightly different perspectives. So they ask questions, and some of them challenging, that make you think again about your business. They enlighten you as to kind of how they see the world developing in their world. So I think that's a large part of it. And as well, another what would you say, privilege in my role is that because I'm across everything, I get to meet people from all kind of different genres and businesses. So I meet advertisers, I meet affiliate partners, I meet people who are in the music business, I meet people who are in the toy and retail business. And so I have a real access to a huge range of ideas, which is fantastic to be able to synthesize that and take learnings from other places and say, okay, I get what they're doing. Maybe this gives us an idea of something we should be doing.
Is there an example of that you could share? I mean, that's quite interesting. Because part of your job is really to know what's happening across all of these industries and all of these different geographies. I mean, I can imagine that can be pretty overwhelming too.
Sorry. Do you mind if I take this? It's
No, go ahead.
It's the text
Oh, yeah.
of those meetings and use them for my talking materials.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think
I
once
met
you...
somebody the other day who works
Right.
on this, and he had this insight, and it was really fascinating. Told us something about their industry, but you know what? That has an impact on us.
Exactly. I think that what you can do now that you're sort of aware of the need to collect, you haven't been focused on examples, and I'm sort of pressing you, right, to go back in your memory, but as you go forward, you could start creating your own personal story bank of anecdotes, right? Even after you've met somebody, like, oh, that was interesting because of this, that was an interesting person because of, right? And just almost keep a little journal so that, because you're sort of a high-level thinker, which I get, so you're not focused on the details, you're focused on the big picture. But if you could start to just jot down and collect, right, because you do so much in a day and you're in so many different places, I think you could really start to build a very rich repository of interesting anecdotes.
Yeah. For example, like I was in, I mentioned that conference in Indonesia. Like at that conference, as well as speaking, I did 2 days of meetings. Like I did 20 meetings in 2 days, and I saw all sorts of stuff. So again, if I kind of go through those, I'm sure I can kind of come up with 4 or 5 kind of interesting, whether anecdotes or just observations that people made that I could lift.
That's interesting because that's really a clear-cut difference between you, I think, and other executives is that you do, because you are international, you do travel so much and meet so many different people.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm just surprised that, oh, wow, that, that didn't occur to me before now, but that would be, to me, seems like a gold mine of opportunities. To start collecting that. So maybe if in a few months we met again, you would have, right? Or you can start to just funnel those to Kate and Matt. Yeah,
I think that should be relatively straightforward to, if I focus on it to
Yeah.
come up with.
Just at the end of the day to say what was
Yeah.
interesting about today.
Just on the plane on the way back, just write down 4 or 5 things.
Exactly. Yeah. 4 or 5 interesting people, or, never thought that idea would come from there.
Yeah.
Just anything that's